Finally, freaking finally, I get to talk about this. How's it going, everyone? This is TUSDarryl, and welcome to my review of Resident Evil 2, Biohazard Resident Evil 2, BioResident 2, you know the one. I can't wait to talk about this, and I really don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just going to read straight from the Steam page's blurb of the story, just to hop right into the review itself. A deadly virus engulfs the residents of Raccoon City in September of 1998, plunging the city into chaos as flesh-eating zombies roam the streets for survivors. Now I'm going to deviate here and say you can play as either Leon Kennedy or Claire Redfield and make your way through various locations in the city to find out what the heck is going on. Well, to be fair, Leon is there to figure out what's going on. Claire is kind of just looking for Chris. I'm sure if she found Chris ahead of time, she probably would have just dipped right out of there after finding Chris, assuming that in that scenario she would find Chris first, but you get my point. Now let's talk about the juicy, gory details, which is really just me saying, let's talk about the graphics. If the game looks a little familiar to you, or it looks very similar to how Resident Evil 7 looks, that's because it's using the RE engine that was used and created and used for Resident Evil 7. And let me tell you, it works wonders in this game. I'll admit there was rarely a time when zombies were actually creepy or scary looking to me. You know, your average zombie that you see walking around in most movies or other games. But in this game, they are absolutely terrifying. The zombies actually have layers in this game, and I'm talking about the zombies first because they're the most noticeable thing, but they actually have layers. Like onions, they have layers. Onions have layers? You get it! Zombies have layers. I am terribly sorry you had to go through that, but my point is, the zombies have details to them that I didn't expect they would have. You can shoot them in just about any place, and you'll see their flesh tear right off. And sometimes, you'll turn them into a pile of mush, and it'll still look good. Leon and Claire have also gotten a redesign that actually look very good, if you ask me. I'm a fan of their new appearance. I know some people are mixed on how Claire looks, and I can see why, but in my opinion, she looks really good. The environments are highly detailed, and you will spend hours just looking around at the environments, looking for things, of course, and doing your job as a player, but at the same time, you might get lost in just how fantastic everything looks. The texture work is phenomenal. And I know I said phenomenal a lot in another video, but I really do mean it this time. It's great. Even on its lower settings, the game still looks really good. Of course, the higher you go, the better it'll look, but it doesn't look terrible at all on its lowest settings. And speaking of settings, you can alter them in a plethora of ways to help your gaming experience. But I can gush about the graphics for a whole 30 minutes, and I know you don't want me to do that, so let's move on to sound.
Good call.
Leon, you gotta back up.
I gotta find that guy. Does anyone know what started this?
Not a clue. But honestly, all you need to know is that this place will eat you alive if you aren't careful.
Yeah, well, I was supposed to start last week, and I got a call to stay away. I wish I'd come here sooner.
Do you need help? Here, you can take my hand.
You need help.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
You need help.
Why?
He's right behind you.
What?
Oh my God.
The sound design is also fantastic in Resident Evil 2, and I'm saying that as someone who really enjoys good sound design and as a survival horror fan. As I said in some of my other horror game related reviews, you have to get the sound design right if you really want to creep out the player. There are times in the game where it's just completely dead silent, like nothing is around you, letting you know, hey, I killed things in this room, or things just never came back to life in the first place. Then a zombie will crash through the window, and you'll be like, where was that? Where did it come from? And then there are the moments when you'll be completely alone, and suddenly you'll hear stomping, you'll hear footsteps of something in the distance, and you don't know what it is. Of course, I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. But it's there, and you're just terrified because you're like, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it's coming from. Is it upstairs? It sounds like it's upstairs. Is it in the hallway? It might be in the hallway. I'm going to open the door. Oh God, it's right in front of me. Hi. I know it's a common thing in other games at this point, but I also have to give props to games that change the way your footsteps sound when you walk on certain surfaces. Small details like that are a very good way to immerse the player, to let them know that, hey, I'm not just walking in an open room. Hey, this place was actually lived in at one point. I don't talk about voice acting a lot as well, but in this case I will. The voice acting is actually really good, and I say really good with a slight grain of salt because to some people it won't be good, but it's like they can deliver lines that sound really good and are well delivered. Like Ada has a lot of well delivered lines, so does Leon, so does Claire, but then you'll have moments when they're purposely flat, and I feel like it's on purpose. When they see a zombie and they're aiming at them, they're like, what the hell, son of a bitch. I'm like, okay, you could have delivered that better, but I think they're going for the campy-ish nature that Resident Evil used to have, and that's great. It actually makes me laugh even in those tense scenarios, but it's fun, and I really do enjoy that. I really feel like it was done on purpose, and if it was, props to you, Capcom. And now moving on to the bread and butter, the gameplay. Okay, oh boy, let's see if I can really condense this so we're not here for another 20 minutes. Well, first things first, let's start with the obvious bit. It's third person. Specifically third person over the shoulder style, like you had in Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. Now don't get me wrong, that has turned people off from the game, and it almost turned me off from the game. Not entirely, I was still going to get it regardless, but I was a little iffy about that because I was a fan of the fixed cameras. Now, I didn't play the original Resident Evil 2 way back in the day, but I did pick it up recently before I played this one. And even before then, I played the Resident Evil 2, sorry, not 2, Resident Evil remaster game, you know, the remaster of the remake, and I enjoyed the fixed camera perspectives in that, so I thought this game would have it too. But then when they announced, hey, this is going to have third person over the shoulder, just like Resident Evil 4, I was like, oh no, are you going to action up the game? I don't have a problem with the action in Resident Evil 4, but at the same time, I kind of want the creep factor back. Let me tell you, this game nails it. It absolutely nails it. I don't feel powerful in this game. In fact, oftentimes, I feel weak. Now, I'm not saying third person over the shoulder automatically means, hey, you're going to be going guns blazing and shooting everywhere, but that was a worry that a lot of people had. This game doesn't have that problem, though. Ammo is scarce. Knives are actually breakable for once. You get grabbed often. Zombies don't go down very easily. Sometimes it'll take about 3 headshots. Sometimes it'll take 10. Sometimes it'll take 5. It's very nerve-wracking, actually, and you're encouraged to shoot the zombies when you have to only. And even then, if you have to shoot them maybe once or twice in the kneecap or in the head to make them buckle. If you just so happen to blow their head off, then great, you're safe. But you also have to worry about this new thing they added, the freaking barricade boards. You have to barricade some windows that are open to keep other zombies from coming into the room that you just cleared. There is one particular hallway called the Death Hallway that you might want to board like crazy, but hey, I'm going to let you guess which one that is. I'm not going to spoil that for you. Puzzles in the game tend to be pretty easy and straightforward, but they do require a lot of backtracking. So if you're not a fan of backtracking, then I'm afraid you might not like this game to that extent. And if you're a fan of games where you can go guns blazing as soon as you get a few guns, then you're not going to be a fan of this either, because zombies don't really die unless you blow their brains out. They'll just stay down for a very long time, or maybe longer if you down them enough. Now, I could argue that some zombies really do stay dead because they don't get up for a very long time, to the point where you think that they're down, but I've had moments where they've surprised me and just grabbed my leg straight up. But it really depends on how many bullets you put in them. But again, save your ammo. Boss fights in the game aren't exactly all that difficult, but they do require you to be defensive more than offensive. You have to wait until they reveal their weak point, or you have to wait until you have a good moment and a good amount of distance to shoot, because oftentimes you'll be in a very closed area trying to fight something that can leap across the room. I'm looking at you, Licker. Even though the Lickers aren't bosses per se, but they might as well be their own boss. Otherwise, the other bosses are definitely in very tight areas, so you can't really maneuver very well outside of maybe 1 or 2 different sections where you fight that boss. I do highly, highly recommend you play this game twice, however. You play the first run as either Claire or Leon, and then the second run as either Claire or Leon. Basically, if you picked Claire for the first run, then you pick Leon for the second one. If you picked Leon for the first one, you pick Claire for the second one. That way you get the full story of the game. The scenarios do play out differently between Routes A and Route B. Route B assumes that you played Route A, so it's going to be a lot quicker. Some doors are already going to be open, some things are already going to be done, some people have already turned, and you just have to move forward. Move forward, move forward. The story is going to move a lot quicker in Route B than it will in Route A, where Route A kind of just builds up to what you're going to be doing in Route B, depending on who you play. And whoever you play in Route B is going to be interacting with things that the person in Route A already did, which is weird, but at the same time, you're also going to be finding different notes left over from that character who played in the first run, who you played in the first run. Not to mention the fact that Leon and Claire do have their own side things they do. Leon is with Ada and Claire is with Sherry. That's the main consistent thing here. How those things happen or how those things play out are typically the same, but the beginning of each of their scenarios, depending on which route you pick, that's the main difference here, i.e. how the PlayStation how the police station is going to be, who is going to be doing what in that station is going to be a little different for them, namely who they interact with. Although, again, after the beginning, after the police station, things will typically just play out the way they normally do for their routes. There are records you can set in the game, i.e. fastest clear time you can get. That'll get you certain unlockables, like an infinite knife, i.e. the knife that just doesn't break, or a rocket launcher that just you could keep firing rockets all day. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. I'm still working at that myself. There are other DLC that are coming, and they go over the other characters that you've met and their stories, how they're doing, if they made it out alive, that I'm really excited for. There are also other modes you can play in the game as well. So the game is very, very much jam-packed with things to do if you're willing to go through the game more than once to unlock those things and then play the other modes just for that extra bit of Resident Evil goodness. So should you avoid the game? Should you buy the game on a sale? Or should you buy the game straight up for the full $60 price? I say go for it. In my opinion, if you're a fan of Resident Evil and you feel like you're going to play this game a lot and unlock a bunch of different things and then play the extra modes, there's enough content here to keep you going. Overall, the main story alone, according to howlongtobeat.com, is about 7.5 hours. I'm assuming they're combining Claire and Leon's campaigns in the ideal scenario, depending on how long it'll take you. In my opinion, it'll take you roughly maybe 7 to 10 hours to clear through both of their routes. But that also comes into play with, are you going to go back and play those routes in reverse? Are you going to play it the opposite way around? Or are you just going to play both routes straight through and call it a day? Because that also affects how I'm going to recommend the game to you. If you're the kind of person who's going to be like, oh, I only want to play Leon, and you're going to play Leon and finish Leon's campaign and not touch the game ever again, I would say don't pick it up at full price. Instead, pick it up on a deep sale. Very deep sale if you really only want to play one route, which I don't see why you'd want to do it, but if you want to play only one route, then fine, but pick it up on a sale then, because it's not worth just that alone. If you're going to play both of their campaigns, however, and that's it, I'd also say still wait for a sale, because you're going to get through those fairly quickly if you're only going to play through them once and never go back and play them again. I'd only recommend the full $60 price to people who are going to come back to this game a lot and play through it again and again and again and again, and then play the extra modes and then play the DLC that's going to drop. If you're trying to go for the full completionist thing, which according to How Long to Beat is 21 hours total, then I would say play it, beat it, love it, enjoy it. It's overwhelmingly positive on Steam. You cannot go wrong with this. I highly recommend it. Highly. Play this game. I'm TUSDarryl. I hope you guys have enjoyed your stay. See you in Raccoon City. Or what's left of it, I guess.